Hi, I'm Dr. D.
And I'm Princess Gaia.
So, Princess Scott, I wanted to ask you a question. What do you think about the Marquis de Sade and his doctrines?
Wow, that's a big question. So actually, I would want to invite anyone like the Sad to raise their voice. And I would also invite them to keep participating in this dance we call life. I think the Sad is a beautiful supplier for the stories I tell ever so often. He allows me to create a clearer picture of what I want to say when I talk about healing us as individual, healing us as society, or healing us as Mother Earth. So let me try to explain this answer as the therapist I am, to make you understand what I really want to say. We all have our, let me call them, inner Marquis de Sades. This can be any inner voice or any inner emotion we have, of which we try to get rid of, like anger, like panic, like envy, or anything which doesn't fit in the situation or in the society, which is inappropriate behavior. So, what is important for our self-healing process is that we become aware of these inner desires, to accept them as parts of ourselves, to welcome and embrace them in our life, and to ask them what they actually intend to tell us. So then we can find a place for them in our inner team, and then they can support us, lead us through our life. We can team up with them. So then we can manage ourselves in a beautiful manner. We can allow any voice to show itself when it wants to be heard, and we can communicate with all there is within us. So in these means, we own our actions, we own our story, and we are who we are, and we love who we are. So as it comes to society, I believe we need to try exactly the same with sadists in our world. We need to invite them in. And this is easy for us the moment we really are these resilient beings who have already aligned with our inner team. Then it is easy for us. And then we are stable, and then we own our story. This new story already involves that we have transformed from the victims into the heroes of our life. So anyone who then treats us in a bad way, who creates a suffering or pain, who exploits others, who we consider as sadist, as narcissist, as schizophrenic, as psychic, or as dangerous, they all are parts of our lives. They are parts of our inner team society. And we need to accept them. We need to welcome and embrace them. We need to ask them for their intention. We need to find a place for them in our society. So once we team up with them, we might be able to have a thriving society. And we can allow anyone to show their honest themselves and to handle life beautifully. So basically, we then own a new collective narrative.
As you're speaking, it reminds me of a concept that's been put forth by Grace Ann Raziel and David Bojan, and they call this the restoring technique. And a lot of restoring looks at, and when we have these bad people or these bad influencers or these bad things going in our lives, you have to ask yourself, are you going to be a character in somebody else's story? And are you going to act in the way that the author of that story wants you to act? Or do you take authorship and ownership of that story, and do you become the author, and then these other people become facets of your story, and therefore they wind up doing what you want them to do? Restoring allows you to get into the driver's seat of your own personal narrative. And of course, that can be something very simple by just writing down events, right, and telling them in a way that certain details might be altered, or you become empowered through the writing process. Two great authors that I think of are Carol Rambo, the sociologist. She writes a lot about her experiences as an abused woman, and I think she finds it to be a form of empowerment to restory in this way. And of course, if you want to go back to classical French literature, think of Jean-Jacques Rousseau, right? In his Confessions, he rewrites his own story as well, which I think is quite interesting. So it can be something as simple as writing it down, but also if you restory inside or restory your own narrative within your mind, you also gain a degree of empowerment in the way that you live your life. You gain power over those that are trying to dominate you. And I think this is really the essence of restoring.
So restoring is kind of therapy for society.
It is. Well, you know, in our next video, I think what we'll do is we'll talk about other ways that we can either work with or dissipate some of these principles of sadism.
Okay.
And if you like this video, make sure you give us a thumbs up. Subscribe to our channels, Princess Gaia or Dr. D University, and make sure you subscribe or make sure you comment below if you have any questions. See you next time.
Bye.